In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to clay your vehicle's paint. We're gonna talk about the tools and products and then go straight into showing you how to actually do it. And then I'll give you a few pointers afterwards on what to look out for with claying and then the tools and products. If you wanna see the exact tools that we're using, I'll have them linked in the description box down below. So let's keep it short and get straight into the video. For the tools and products, keep it very simple. You're gonna need some form of lubrication. This could be a rinseless wash, a waterless wash, a quick detailer, a spray wax, your soapy water from the wash bucket, that could be used as lubrication. Then you'll need some form of clay media, whether that's a clay mitt, clay pad, clay disc, or what most of us know of a clay bar. And then you'll need a towel to wipe down the claying that you're doing. Now there's a few variations to it, right? Because you could wash the vehicle, rinse it down, clay it, rinse it, and then dry it. Or you could do a rinseless wash, go straight into clean the vehicle and then dry it without rinsing it. So don't get too stuck on it if there's like a very specific, like exact way to do things. There's a lot of ways to get to the same end point that you want. It's just based on how you wash your vehicle, maybe the environment that you're in. So first step is to clean the vehicle. You can do a waterless, rinseless, traditional, whichever way, but you first have to wash the vehicle. Here, since we're just doing one panel, I'm just gonna spray it down with my rinseless wash solution and then wipe it down with the towel. Okay, now that the vehicle is washed and dried, you can hear when you rub your hand over the vehicle that there's this like texture, this coarseness to it, that there's like, it sounds like there's grit. And it's very obvious when you're actually in person and you feel your paintwork, like you can feel the roughness on your hand. So next is we're gonna grab our tools or our products. Now this is a clay bar, which most of us know what that is because it's what you find at O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Target, Walmart. And then we have our clay mitt. Now there's a clay mitt, a clay pad, a clay towel. There is a clay disc. So all of these are essentially gonna do the same thing. Now for us, 90% of the time, we're using a clay mitt. The few times that we do use a clay bar, it's because we need something more aggressive to pull out the contaminants on the paintwork. So think about overspray or just think about like some heavy contamination on the vehicle, we'll go for clay bar. So in this instance, I'm gonna show you half with the clay bar and half with the clay mitt. Now it's very simple, very straightforward. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our rinseless. You can use a quick detailer, a spray wax, your rinseless, a waterless, and we're going to saturate the surface. You're gonna spray a little bit into the clay bar. And all you're gonna do with light pressure is just go back and forth until the texture is removed. And the way you know it's being removed is because you can feel it, you can feel the texture going away, and then the sound doesn't sound as gritty. Now, if I can pull it in, look at all the dirt or contaminants that's being pulled off. So I'm gonna flip to the other side, spray again, and continue to clay. Now I'm using a small little piece of clay just because we're doing this small panel, but you wanna just basically flatten it out on your hand and just go back and forth. Now, if you're outside in the sun, you wanna make sure you're continually misting down the paint, because what's gonna cause more marring and what's gonna make it more difficult for you is if it's dry, it's just gonna be harder for it to glide over the paint. So use lubrication, make sure you keep on spraying it down. That way the clay bar can glide over the paint a lot easier. Now again, both sides are now fully contaminated. So what we're gonna do now is simply just mush it up again and then flatten it out. And now we are on generally a cleaner side. Again, it's a small clay bar, so it's gonna get used up kind of quick. So we're gonna keep on misting and working it. Okay, you're not putting a ton of down pressure down. That's not the goal of this. You're just barely putting enough pressure to keep it on there. And what you want to do is less pressure, but more back and forth, right? So it's not like, oh, let me press down a lot and then like do a few strokes. No, just very light pressure, but just go back and forth over and over. Okay, so we are done there again. See, it's pulling up still a lot of contaminants from this clay bar. So what you could do is, if it's that bad, you can do one more pass and see if you're pulling off anything else. And we are indeed still pulling off a lot of the clay, a lot of the contaminants. But once you're happy with the results, you can wipe it down. And if you go back to testing it, on this side of the panel, it is much more smooth now and you don't hear that grit. Whereas if you go over to this side, you hear it again. So let me get the mic and kind of show you. So that's how you know that you've actually removed the contaminants, because you can, one, feel the difference, and then two, hear the difference. So now let's do the same process with the clay mitt. If you had a clay towel, clay pad, clay whatever, it's gonna be the same process. You're gonna still mist the panel down, mix a little bit into the clay mitt, clay pad, and then literally do the same exact thing. You're just gonna go back and forth. I'm not putting a lot of pressure down. I'm more so trying to do a lot of back and forth passes to compensate for the lack of pressure, because we don't want to, there's no need to put a lot of pressure down. And the problem if you do put a lot of pressure down, especially when it's hot outside, is that the material of the clay will start to stick to the paintwork, and then you got to do another step to remove the clay that you instilled into the paintwork. So go with a lot of lubrication and multiple passes, and multiple light passes. You're gonna take your towel, you are going to wipe it down. And now you literally just inspect and you do the same thing. You just run your hand over the paint, and do you feel the texture? Do you hear the grit? If you're good, then you're good to go to the next panel, to the next step. If you still feel like there is some level of grit, or you still hear something, just literally go back, spray it again, and do another pass. And just keep in mind that we did just work on this panel, but it's the same process across your entire vehicle. So if it's, you know, based on the condition, based on the environment that you're working in, you just replicate that one thing across your entire vehicle. So which one is better, a clay bar or a clay mitt? First and foremost, it just comes down to preference. What do you like? What do you like to use? Which one is faster for you? Which one do you enjoy more? That's like just the main question you should answer. After that though, it's more of like the pros and cons. So a clay bar, I would say, does pull off a lot more contaminants, which is why we only use it when we really need it. For more of your like average, typical, like it's nothing crazy, it just hasn't been clayed in a while, we're gonna use a clay mitt. Now, if you drop the clay bar, it's done for. You can't use it anymore. Now, if you drop this, you just rinse it down and you can keep on using it. With this one, because it has this fabric piece in the back, we can just lay it down on the vehicle. With this one, you gotta be very careful, because again, if it slides off, if it touches anything that has grit, it's now trapped in the clay bar. And as far as usage goes, I can't really tell you how many vehicles you can get out of this. It's more so like the way you store it and how much it gets used. After a while, you'll see that this material just starts to look uglier, or it just like kind of deteriorates, and that's a sign that like, okay, it's past its time. Whereas with this, it's a lot easier to tell, just because like you can visibly see it, and you know, after a certain amount of time, like you just see that, okay, this is used up. So they both have their pros and cons, but it mostly comes down to preference. And that's gonna wrap up this video. I wanna keep it short and simple and to the point. Let me know if you have any specific questions about the tools, products, or process in the comment section down below. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.